the previous speaker actually mentioned this, that different people are gifted in different areas, and a lot of us, we focus on one area and we forget that as a person you are a balanced human being. Maybe you are good at work, so that's like your financial part. And then maybe you're good at relationships, but maybe then there's your health, there's your psychology, there's your emotional stuff, there's your spiritual stuff. So a human being does well in life if you balance the different parts of yourself. So if you want to be someone who can focus and flourish, or if you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to think about the different parts of yourself, that in each and every part of yourself, your relationships, your finances, your health, your spiritual life, your intellectual life, that you're also making room for them. Does that make sense? Yeah, so if you have to be a well-rounded person, then you won't have issues. Now, if you want to be emotionally well, I think there are a few decisions that you have to make. And the first decision is this, do you want to have boundaries or not? Who knows what boundaries are? What's a boundary? Like fence, eh? Yeah, like a fence, like a boundary. Stop nonsense, let's put it that way. You must decide whether or not you stop nonsense or not. Yeah, know your name. But here's the thing, so when we are born, so between the ages of 1 and 2, you are learning to define yourself. So if you have a little child, and then this is ice cream, and then the child says no, and then you say, oh, give my ice cream, put on rat. Then the child learns, when I say no, I'm being unloving. And so it's a pattern that you carry on, and then you'll see it in their teenage years. So then a guy will say, you don't want to sleep with me, you don't love me. Because you're saying no. If you're saying no, you are being unloving. So then that's a boundary. Then later on in life, maybe you work somewhere, and then they make you work extra hours, they're putting you at work. But because you can't say no, because no means you are being unloving, you struggle to say no, then people bully you, or people lie to you. So you have to decide whether you want boundaries or not. People with boundaries, it's very difficult to take advantage of them emotionally. It's very difficult to take advantage of them in the work environment. It's very difficult to take advantage of a person who has boundaries. Another way to think about it is whether you are a public park or a private garden. And this is your mind, your body, your emotions, because we're not supposed to let each and every person into our emotions. And sometimes we do that, or am I the only one? We let people sneak into our emotions who shouldn't be there. We let people sneak into our minds who shouldn't be there. Things that bother us. So if you want to be well emotionally, you have to decide that whether you are a person with boundaries or not. Because if you don't have boundaries, then people are going to take advantage of you. So that makes sense, right? So you have to decide. We say that you become an adult the day you decide that your problems are your own. So everything that's actually wrong with your life is actually your fault. Yes? Right? Yeah. So everything that's your life will change the day you decide that I'm going to make a difference in my life. If change depends on someone else coming into your life and changing you, then you're going to struggle. So that makes sense, right? You have boundaries. So I'll take questions later. The second thing which is related to the first one is you have to decide whether you want to be a person who reacts to things or who responds to things. If you want to be emotionally well. You know, if you smile and they give you some sort of cream and then you react, is that a good reaction? You say, oh, you are reacting to this cream. Or you go to a doctor and the doctor first class and then you take that and then you are reacting to the medication. Is that a good thing? It's not a good thing because if you are reacting, it's a bad thing. You are reacting to the situation. But I want to say, if you want to be well, you have to decide whether you want to react or respond. Now, the other thing I want to say is nobody can upset you without your permission. Who disagrees? If I came in and I poured you with water and you were cold, right? It's something I did, but it's not automatic that you should be upset with me. So we are normally happier if we are able to control how we respond to people, how we respond to ourselves when things don't work, how we respond to people who offend us, how we respond to our children, how we respond to our friends, how we respond at work. We make that decision whether to respond or not. If a person and then roja, we are all going to have different reactions. Is that true or not? True, because we all decide how we're going to respond. So if you're upset, if I offend you now and I leave, and I go home, and I go and have a nice meal, and you are still offended here, I'm controlling you. If you walk out of here, and then you see somebody who offended you a month ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, and you're upset, that person controls you. Because they have the power to dictate what happens to you. And I say any person, ordinary in your head, should be something that advances you. Your mind is like a bank. Anything in there should be developing you. If it's in there and I have to develop it, that thing is staying legally in your mind. So we have to decide whether we respond or react. And the thing is, if you want to be emotionally well, people who decide how to respond are usually, they achieve more, they're a bit more relaxed in life, they are just happier. The third thing you have to decide on is whether you want to look at life in a negative way or a positive way. It's much easier to be negative. Do you agree? If people are fighting now, they are killing each other, burying each other somewhere there, someone else is smiling. They are looking for guns, they are looking for boots, they are looking for clothes, that somebody's going to make money off your misery. If you are miserable, somebody who might be running a beauty spa might make money in a bank account, right? Because maybe you're stressed out, you know, you know, and then you can feed your children off people's misery. The other way to put it is this way. The other way to put it is that when somebody passes away, there's an undertaker who can make the death of somebody love, that whole funeral process is like a good experience. You know, you are struggling, they say, you know what, I'm going to help you. They give you the steps on how you're going to bury the person. So they are helping you in a time, in a difficult time. That person is a positive person. If you're having a bad day and somebody can talk to you or empire, then somebody's doing a good thing, right? So they've learned the difference between looking at life in a negative way and life in a positive way. So life is very, it's full of ups and downs, but if you try and maintain a positive view, you never know what your life will be like. So you will be emotionally well if you decide to have a positive perspective on life. In fact, wealthy people are people who just look at problems and think of solutions. That's what it is. When people are struggling, you think, what can I do? What can I do? And if you take on that attitude, very few things will stress you out. Then you have to decide, another decision you have to make is whether, I want to put it this way, whether you want to be happy or not. But it's not the right way to put it, because happiness is not a goal. People say, I just want to be happy. You know? I just want to find someone to make me happy. Can't we be happy? Happiness is not something you pursue. Happiness is a byproduct of finding something meaningful. So hardship or the problem or pain in your life is not the issue. It's whether your life has meaning or not. You can survive anything. Somebody says, if you know why, I think it was Nietzsche added, if you know the why, you can bear the how. You can bear anyhow. If I say, I'm going to make you suffer, but after the suffering, I'll give you $1 million. Some of you might be tempted to take the suffering. And suffering is just the fact of life. It's inescapable. I don't know what I do. But if you find meaning, so your life is better and you're emotionally well, when your life is means something. Let your life mean something. And one day, and you're going 6 feet. under, there must be something that you stood for. This person stood for this. This person stood for this. There was a man, what he liked, it's just he liked his family sitting together. Just like, you know, his wife, and just sitting here in supper. So this man died. When he died, this is how the family decided to celebrate this guy. They said every year, and on his birthday, we're going to have lunch. You know what I mean? He left them with something. So your life must mean something. Not for when you die, then people come to see to make sure you are gone. I come to celebrate. But your life must mean something. Your pain must mean something. I'm an artist. So when you write, so I've written a play, we've done it in the State Theatre. So when you write films or songs or, let's say a movie, a good movie is a movie where the hero suffers. Do we agree or not? No? Studying. There's no movie you'll watch that's nice where the hero doesn't suffer. There's no such thing because conflict drives the story. So if nothing bad is happening to the character that you like, that story won't be nice. So my suggestion is this: if you want to be emotionally well, accept that, try and turn the painful things in your life into meaningful experiences. Say, despite all this thing happened to me, I still made it that far. This thing happened to me, but this is how I came. You know, in our country, we live with a lot of abuse. I said, women get abused. That's why I always feel awkward when I come here. I feel like I knew women must come and talk to you. But I deal with a lot of people who are abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, and I've seen two kinds of people, right? The trauma happens to a person and then their life, if it anymore. Like, since this thing happened to me, my life's over there. And I've seen people, there's actually a story in Focus and Flourish. There's a lady, by the time she was 9, she was raped 3 times. But she's an author, she's written 2 books, she goes and she talks. And her first book is called My Pain Perfected. And she says, so I have pain, but now I have a pain and I teach other people. So she goes on platforms, she goes on TV, she talks to people about the experience that she had. So on one side, by 12 hours, they go through a difficult time, the pain cripples them. On the other side, people, they're able to take the pain and write and have careers, write movies, have beautiful songs. I'm sure if I asked you what are your favorite songs, one of the songs right now is probably yeah, and exactly. And if you take Idibala, it's actually a story about a person who and he's eating because of a negative. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying, if you want to be emotionally well, make sure that there's meaning in your life. That your life, you just don't wake up and then you just live life. Find something, die for something, stand for something. Oh, the last thing, I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram. I've got a YouTube channel.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's a lot that I learned. I would have asked questions, but